Welcome to Education Today. I'm Hunter Howman, a senior at Katanning Senior High School. Tonight, we're going to be hearing from Katanning's TV production classes. Here we have Armstrong School District's renowned multimedia technician, Mr. Chris Garatano. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me here, Hunter.
We're going to be asking Mr. Garatano a few questions about his thoughts on the English alternative elective, better known as TV production. Would you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Well, my name is Chris Garatano. I am the Armstrong School District multimedia technician, and I'm housed down here at Katanning Junior High School.
How long have you been involved with Armstrong School District's multimedia technician?
Well, my roots here go back, a little bit further than just my involvement down here at the studio. I interned with the school district in 2007, the summer of 2007, and during that time I got to spend 2 weeks with, at the time it was Mr. Don Swanson, who is your TV production teacher now. He was the multimedia technician then. He showed me a little bit about what he does down here, and we spent a couple of weeks going over that, and I kind of shadowed him. And then the following spring semester, January 2008, I was brought in as a long-term substitute for Mr. Swanson while he finished his English master's degree. And then I was brought back on an interim basis the following school year, 2008-2009 school year. And now this is my third full year with the district. And going into last year, I was then named the multimedia technician.
How many schools offer TV production?
In our school district, we have currently West Shamokin, Katanning, and Ford City high schools. When the program started, Elderton was also involved, and their numbers kind of dropped, so they combined with West Shamokin. And on a side note to that, even in addition to Armstrong School District, many school districts throughout at least the state of Pennsylvania, and I'm sure more than that, also offer a form of TV production or a multimedia class now.
Has the classes grown in the schools?
Outside of Elderton, yeah, the classes have grown. West Shamokin's numbers, they haven't had more than one class in a year yet, but the numbers that they have in their classes and the popularity and the interest continues to grow. A lot of the times in all of the schools, especially down at West Shamokin, for whatever reason, the having time in their schedules has affected how many students actually get to take it. But with Ford City, they continue to grow. They offer 2 classes annually, and the numbers in each of their classes continue to grow. And at Katanning, that's where we've seen the most growth. And in the last couple of years, they've grown from having 3 classes to 4 classes, and this year is the most that we've had at one building with 5, and that gives us 8 total for the school year this year.
What do the students gain most from partaking in the classes in TV production?
I think the thing that students gain the most is an understanding of how multimedia affects their everyday life. I think that's the biggest thing that they gain out of it, because with the evolution of the internet, things like YouTube, and even cell phones with the different options that they have on them now, multimedia is becoming a more centralized part of every student in particular's life. And in addition to that, I also think that the students gain a lot of understanding about what TV production is about, and what I mean by that is the experience that they get making their own videos, everything from PSAs that might last 30 seconds to what you guys are doing here today, which is developing your own, conceptualizing your own idea for Education Today, and then carrying out that. So I think that those two are the big things that students gain the most out of it.
Do you believe that there are any negative effects on taking classes?
No, I don't think that there's any negative effect in taking it as either a class or an elective. I think that for now, with where we're at, both in our social atmosphere and in our society, that it's good to take it as an elective. It's good to give students the option as to whether or not they want to take it. But overall, there are no negative effects to the course.
Okay. Overall, is TV production a positive or negative influence?
I think that it can only be positive, to tell you the truth. There are a lot of depending on who you ask, there can be negative aspects to multimedia, and you got to understand multimedia incorporates a whole bunch of different things, everything from music to videos, TV shows, movies, even the apps that you see on cell phones anymore. You know, those are all different forms of multimedia. I think the reason why it's positive, though, is because it's very important to instruct students at the youngest age that you can about what multimedia is and the effects that it can have on you, and basically just inform them about, you know, what multimedia is all about. Ultimately, anything that you watch on TV, whether it's a TV commercial or a program or a movie, whoever's putting that particular multimedia production together, their job is to make the viewer see it the way that they see it, to have a certain effect on your thought process. Whether that means you buy a certain kind of toilet paper, or you feel the emotions of sadness or happiness during a movie. So I think it's positive to inform the students of what multimedia is and what effects it can have on them.
Okay, do you think the students should take the classes seriously? And what do you think the students will learn most from the class?
I think that the elective, for the most part, is taken seriously by the majority of the students that take it. Anytime you have an elective in school, there's going to be students who unfortunately will take it for the wrong reasons, meaning that they might see it to be a blow-off course or an easy grade or something like that. But the majority of the students who take it, I think, or take it seriously. They do take it seriously, and they like what they do down here. I mean, the atmosphere that both Mr. Swanson and I like to keep with this class, and especially down here at the studio, is more of a laid-back, fun atmosphere. That's really where you end up having a lot of fun with these courses. And at the same time, as long as the students are willing to be serious when they have to be and get the work done that needs to be done, in my experience here, most students have come back with a pretty positive indicator that they enjoyed it. As far as the important things that you take from the class, I think maybe I covered that a little bit already, but basically you just get to know both the ins and outs, both behind the scenes and on camera, of a production like this, and you also learn about the information and what multimedia is all about in the society.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some news packages.
How do you feel about TV production class?
I feel that it is an elective class, but it could also give people an idea of what they might like to do in the future. It kind of makes them more well-rounded.
I think all in all they're pretty good. I think I have a couple students that are exceptionally strong. The majority of the students do some pretty good work. As in any given class, you have a handful that I think are just kind of there. But I think by and large the students enjoy the class. They're doing some really creative things, and for the most part I'm very happy with the class this year.
I love TV production. I think it gives a lot of kids the opportunity to be more creative than they would get to be in their regular classes. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's a great educational opportunity. There's a lot of media out in the world, and there are not very many classes offered here that deal with that kind of media.
How do you feel about the students and the teacher?
I think the students are great. They all mean well. They're all there to learn. Mm-hmm. Mr. Swanson, the teacher, is awesome. He knows more about TV production than I could ever hope to know. Well, I'm going into filmmaking, so I hope to know as much as Mr. Swanson someday. But I think he's great. Yeah. He's a great teacher. He does a great job with the kids. So.
Okay. What do you think about the projects coming from TV production, such as the bulletins, movies, promos?
And I think some of the work that's come out of TV Prod has been phenomenal this year. I think our homecoming promo, the prom promo that your class just did, I think is pretty strong. I think we've had some exceptional bulletins. I think there have been some really good things that have happened up at the district studio with Mr. Garatano on Education Today. But on the day by day, which is pretty much just the bulletins, I think we're pretty decent. There have been some stand out there and some that have just missed against it entirely, but I think for the most part it kind of reflects the kids taking the class. I think occasionally you get some work that's outstanding. I think on a pretty common occurrence you get pretty decent work, and sometimes you get the stuff that just isn't quite there, but that all depends on who's working on it, what the circumstances are.
I think they're beneficial because they actually get the students to listen and watch the announcements, whereas when it's just the people talking, that people don't really pay attention.
I think there's a lot of room for expansion, but I think the kids are branching out and they're learning a lot more, and as the year progresses, I think people kind of, they learn more, they can apply more things in the editors, and I think all the projects are getting better.
They're getting better. Do you think TV production is beneficial?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said before, with all the media out in the world, everything is technology these days, and the only technology classes we really have are like PowerPoint, which who uses PowerPoint in the real world, and TV production, and TV is everything. So I think it's incredibly beneficial.
Do you think TV production is beneficial to the students here at Katanning?
I think that basically you guys are a media generation. And as an English teacher, I know a lot of English teachers fantasize that kids go home and read for 2 or 3 hours a night, but you don't. You go home, you watch TV, you go to the movies, you get online, and basically you live in a media literate world. So one of the things that I put underneath the surface in TV production, have been doing all year, is this concept of media literacy. And it kind of goes along with the old English adage that if you want to be a better writer, read. If you want to be a better reader, write. You guys go out and you have to negotiate this world of mass media around you, so by shooting and by editing, you're understanding how at least a part of that, being video and film and television, is put together. And if you can understand how it's put together, then you can understand how to take it apart. And my hope is that on some level that maybe you're not entirely aware of, you're going out, you're interacting with all this media, and you're actually taking a minute to stop to think about it. Like, how is this being manipulated? What message am I supposed to be sent? What does it actually mean?
Do you think the school district should leave TV production the way it is or change it?
I'm not exactly sure like what kind of equipment they have or like anything like that with the budget, but I don't see why they would cut anything from it.
I think they should change it, just because I think that there is so much room and so many ways to expand the program. More funding would be great. Obviously, we could get better equipment, better editors, more individual stuff for the students. I mean, there's only a handful of editors in the classroom. There are a lot of students in TV production because it does garner a lot of interest. So more funding would be good. Other than that, though, the instructors, I think, are doing a good job.
I think that academically, in terms of curriculum, TV production is in a pretty good place. It could obviously be improved in some regards, like anything else could. There's always room for improvement. I think it should be a multi-leveled course, and I think there should be more of a system in place to handle it as a multi-leveled course. We do have TV2 students this year as an independent study. We have TV2 students next year, and hopefully we're going to have an actual period to meet, which will enable us to get into a whole different kind of stratosphere kind of things related to TV production and video and film in that regard. But academically, in terms of curriculum, I think it's in a pretty good place. It's a pretty loose curriculum in that it's up to the individual teacher to kind of interpret it how he or she would like. Other than that, in practicality, we're in a closet, so to speak, in our classroom. So I think that puts a lot of limitations on what we can actually accomplish. It's just the physical reality of the space that we have. You put like 10 or 12 kids in there, and it's just sardines in a can. So I think that would be probably my biggest wish list for TV production, to be given an actual space for it to exist in.
Welcome back from the news packages. This is Education Today. Today's special guest is Chris Garitano. Do you think that the classes have enough technology to properly teach the school or the students within the school?
Overall, yes. Anytime you get involved in technology, especially technology related to this program, there's always going to be a lot of dollar signs involved in it. And it's really a matter of you have to do a lot of research, which that responsibility falls on me, because as part of my job, I'm responsible for making sure that each of the schools have the equipment that they need and that the equipment stays functional. So I have to go in and I really have to research a lot of what I decide to purchase for each school each year, and that's based on their needs as well. But I have to find out what's the most cost-effective way to keep everything upgraded and up to date. And so far, we've done a pretty good job at that. Now, we're entering a transition period right now where a lot of the equipment that we use is making strides towards getting to a tapeless format. We use mostly tape here right now. So we're upgrading technology to meet that, demand. But it gets difficult because since the technology is newer, there's more, it's more expensive, so we have to kind of pick and choose where we can upgrade and the most effective way to do that. But overall, I think there's enough technology for each school, and we generally are able to keep a pretty good ratio as far as student to cameras and student to editors.
Okay, well, how do you feel about the Armstrong School District benefiting over other school districts that do not offer this class?
I think it's an extremely huge benefit to the students who take this course. The big thing with this as we go along, and like I said, is getting the information to students and what the multimedia is all about. Communications media is typically the name of the course that you would take at a college level, and since communications continues to grow outside of just the public schools and secondary education, it's important to make sure that the students are also kept up to date on all of those technologies and what's happening. And technology is becoming a more integral part of society. You have students now who design their own websites, which is another form of multimedia work. So I think it's an extremely large benefit. And as just an example of that, when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to take TV production, and I did. And that kind of piqued my interest into what I wanted to do with my career. So when I got into college, I was already many steps above what students were that didn't have the background in high school that I did. And even in addition to that, with my internship, there was a form of video editing that they use. I was working for a TV news station in Altoona, and they don't have the digital editing machines like you guys are used to. They had, basically, it was one deck connected to another deck, and you did all your video editing instead of being able to see it all laid out in front of you like today's modern editors are. It was basically you had two monitors, two decks, and you had to cut and paste from one tape to the other, and that's how you edited. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't had that background in high school, because I wasn't taught that in college, that particular aspect in college. So yeah, there's a very large impact and a large benefit for the students who have the opportunity to take these kind of classes. Okay, well,
I mean, everyone will learn from it, or the students who take it, but do you think the students take the class too lately?
If they do, by the time they get, a couple of weeks into the program, I don't think that ends up being the case anymore. Even the students who, have openly said, well, this was a class I thought I would take and I thought it would be a little bit easier, laid back than this, have come around to the point where they realize they can't just blow it off. And the reality is we try to make the class fun. We try to make the projects that the students work on things that are interesting to them. So that way it becomes something that they're more interested in doing overall. And whether they realize it or not, I think the majority of students don't end up taking the class very lightly because they're interested and engaged in what they're doing.
Okay. Well, do you think TV production, how do you feel about TV production being an elective?
I think that for now, as I said earlier, it's the only way to go. It has to be an elective for now. The reality of the economy that we're in right now doesn't allow for this kind of a course to be offered as a core class, for instance. I don't know that it will ever be on the same level in public education, at least, as a core class such as English and math and science is. But I think that at some point it would be good to offer some form of media class or media literacy class. And I would keep the TV production as we know it here as an elective. But I think that as a course, it would be smart to offer something that teaches and informs students about what multimedia, what kind of an effect that really plays on their everyday life. Because like I said, we're so engaged in it now. Even older people, that they're so engaged in it now that you almost don't even realize that it's there because you're just used to it. It's just become a part of the norm for our societies now. So I think that it would be good to instruct students and offer some kind of a media literacy course that ends up becoming something that maybe you say, okay, you just name a grade, for instance, sophomore, junior, senior in high school, and you say, this is a course that we would like our students to take. And even if it's not core, I think it would be important to one day upgrade it from where it currently is at.
Okay, well, right now, do you feel that there is going to be a bright future for this class?
I think that based on this year, I mean, every year we've had growth in this program, which has been great. And every year the students who take the course get better at what they're doing. And I don't really know if I think that's probably a reflection of the teachers and myself learning from year to year, and I also think that's a reflection of the students who come into this course now. A lot of the times will get feedback from their peers, and they know what to expect more. So you get students who are more interested in what they are doing in the classes. But like I said, this year we've had more classes than we've ever had in 1 year, which created a good issue for me, or a good problem for me, which was that I had to try to figure out a way to schedule all of the classes to be down here on an equal number of times. And in the past, we had 2 taping days a month. Now this year, we taped every single week of the school year outside of maybe 3. So it created some scheduling issues with me, this year, but we got them worked out, and it really ended up working out for the best. So I think going forward, we're only going to see more growth. And we're hoping that next year we're going to offer our first ever TV2 class as an official class and not just an independent study. So we'll see moving forward what happens next year, but I think the future for this program is only bright.
Okay, well, we're going to a commercial break right now. Please stay tuned.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like, or what role I would play, or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name's Megan Miller, fine arts major, and this is my university.
Hello, this is Education Today. Welcome back from the commercial. Our guest, Chris Garatiano. Today we're talking about TV production. Okay, do students usually pass with good grades?
Since I don't actually teach the everyday classroom material, I also am not really involved in the evaluation of student projects. I kind of give my feedback on them, but that's about the extent of them, or of my evaluation process with them. So I don't know exactly what the grades are among most of the students, but based on my conversations with the TV production teachers themselves, it seems that most of the time the students do get pretty good grades. The big thing with this program is whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And it's like that in most courses, but unlike some courses, this isn't a course, there's nowhere to really hide from it, because you guys work on individual projects and you also work on group projects where each person's responsible for a certain aspect. And there's no way to cover that up when you're talking about a visual media such as video. So for the most part, I think the grades are pretty good.
Okay, well, have any recent students went on to a multimedia or TV production field in college?
Well, in the 3 years that I've been here, I've had a handful of students each year that have moved on to college and taken up something related to this field. I know that before I was here, when Mr. Swanson was still the teacher, or the instructor down here, that he also had a handful of students from each year that kind of went into communications media, either as a major or a minor. And I do know that there are some students that, even though they weren't interested in majoring in it, they liked it enough that they were going to pursue getting involved in the TV or radio stations that almost all colleges offer now. IUP in particular, that's where I went. I know they offer a good program. And we've had students go to numerous state schools and even schools out of state. And I think the biggest one that we have coming up, the name that comes to mind the most, I've had her each of the last 2 years now, Shannon Walker, one of your classmates from Katanning. I think she plans to go to the Art Institute in Pittsburgh, which is very good for all arts, which includes the media arts, and that's what she wants to get into. So she has a passion for it that not most students have had going forward. She has a passion to go into film, which you have to have a creative mind and you have to really like what you're doing to go into that, because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy and effort. And I'm sure Mr. Swanson has told you guys he does a lot of independent films himself. So she's probably the one who's shown the most interest in it, but I've also had a number of students show interest in it that they wanted to go in and this make something related to communications their career.
Okay, well, do you have anything to add to help benefit the viewers today?
No, I think we pretty much covered most of what the TV production and the studio here at Katanning Junior High offers for the students. The only thing I would say at this point is the students, you know, we design everything that we do to benefit you guys, and hopefully by the end of each year we've given you guys enough information moving forward. I think that this is a course that offers a lot more than just skills in media, but also skills in different socializing techniques and things like that. And it'll be something, even if you don't go into it as a job or as a career, it's something that it's going to give you a background that I think you can apply different skills that you've had to acquire throughout the year in almost any field that you go into. So.
Well, Mr. Garetano, it seems we're out of time today. Thank you so much for coming on down here and answering some questions. Our thanks also go out to the TV production students of Katanning Senior High School and their incredible leader, Mr. Don Swanson. They are our film crew today. Please join us again next week for another look at Armstrong School District, and visit our website for information about the school district we have. Have a great week.